Welcome back for part 2 of section 11.2. Today we are focusing on our areas of a sector. This is all I have for notes for today. I just wanted to separate this so that way we had time to practice each part to this section. So this right here, we're going to talk about area of a sector. Let's start by finding or stating what that is. A sector is the region bounded by two radii of the circle and their intercepted arc. Essentially what this is if I have a piece of pie, or I have a pie, one piece of pie would be a sector of my entire pie. And I want to find the area of how much pie I'm actually eating of one piece. So to do that, I have my lovely sector formula, or sector area formula. It is very similar to our arc length formula. It is still set up like a proportion. The only difference is we have sector area over the area is equal to arc measure over 360. So very similar to arc length. The only difference is we're focusing on our areas, so we're going to have the area formulas. So coming over here to my example, just one example today. And we are going to actually find the areas of the sectors formed by this angle. So we're actually doing two parts here. So I'm going to go ahead and split my screen a little bit. We're going to do two parts. The first part is we need to find, I'm going to start with the blue. Or no, correction, I'm going to start with the orange. We're going to start with the smaller area first. So I have this lovely orange that I'm going to use. And so we're going to say the area of the orange over pi r squared is going to equal the measure of UV over 360 degrees. So we're going to start with that. I'm going to go ahead and name some stuff up here. My radius is going to be 80 inches. My arc measure of UV, in this case that's my orange, is going to equal 70 degrees, and the arc measure of my blue, which is USV, is going to equal 360 minus 70, which is 290 degrees. So that gives me a lot of my information I need to know. It just makes it a little bit easier for me here. So I'm going to go ahead and continue with the orange. So I'm going to say that the area of the orange is x. We're going to put that over pi times my 8 squared, and that's going to equal my arc measure of the orange, which we said was 70 degrees over 360 degrees. This reduces on the right side to 7 over 36. I can't really reduce that anymore, so I'm going to have x over 64 pi is equal to 7 over 36. I'm going to go ahead and cross multiply here. So I get 36x is going to equal 7 times 64 pi. I get 36x is going to equal 448 pi. Divide both sides by 36. I get the area of the orange to equal, reduce that fraction to 112 pi over 9 inches squared, which is going to equal just about 39.1 inches squared. And that is going to be my first of my two answers. Okay, so let's go ahead and focus on the blue area now. So I'm going to do the area of the blue over pi r squared. That's going to equal the measure of arc USV over 360 degrees. So we don't know the area of the blue. I'm going to name that as Y. I'm going to have the exact same area, so I can kind of skip ahead there. And then I'm going to say 290 degrees, which is the arc measure of USV, over 360 degrees. That gets rid of my degree signs and my zeros here, so I have 29 over 36. I can cross multiply with those numbers. So I get 36y to equal 29 times 64 pi, which gives me 36y to equal 1,856 pi. Divide both sides by that 36. I get the area of the blue sector to equal 464 pi over 9 inches squared, since it is area, which equals just about 162.0 inches squared. And that is my final answer. A great way to check and make sure that I did everything correct is actually finding the decimal for 64 pi and making sure that these two numbers that you're given, these two here, or these two that you solved for, do equal that 64 pi when added together. Okay. That is all I have for section 2, part 2.